Mother would want me to thank of each of you for coming today. And I want to let you in on a little secret. You were all her favorites. But I especially want to acknowledge the travels of the First Lady, Mrs. Bush, former President and Senator Clinton, President Mrs. Carter, Mrs. Reagan, Caroline and Edward Schlossberg, Mrs. Bush, Susan Ford Bales, Tricia Nixon Cox and her husband, and my good friend Maria Shriver, and the Governor and the First Lady of the great state of Texas, and our own Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison. Thank you so much for your presence. Mother would have been deeply honored, and Linda and I are deeply grateful. Once I asked my mother, "How do you want to be remembered?" She replied in her usual self-effacing way, "Well, I made a lot of little lists, and I scratched them off." Little lists were my mother's constant companion. Campaign schedules, thank you lists, and an ever-growing Christmas list. Her lists were for community causes, business, and family, but they were all lists to serve others. Sometimes I'd say, "Can't we take off time from duty for just a few days?" She couldn't. Duty was her oxygen. But she didn't seem to feel the burden of duty, only the calling. In the final years, Mother let me cross her lists off. Often I would make a speech or host an event for her. While I could be her representative, I knew there was no substitute for Lady Bird Johnson. I will always be especially grateful to my husband, Ian, for quietly helping Mother with her lists in big ways and small, managing our business, serving her Wildflower Center, and reading to her on ranch weekends. And to his mother, Rita, for becoming another one of those best friends. We never succeeded entirely at weaning Mother from the list, but aging became our ally. She finally gave herself permission to just spend time delighting in family. Mother always said life can be separated into two categories: the if-onlys and the aren't we grateful. One of the most profound if-onlys was the shortness of Daddy's life. She was barely 60 when he died. Mother, for the greatest inheritance one can ever know, parents who adored each other until death, I'm forever grateful. When my precious Lyndon, Nicole, Rebecca, and Claudia were young, I asked Mother if she would take them sometimes on an adventure without their siblings. She tailor-made an individual trip for each of them, from the beaches of Kitty Hawk to the redwoods of California to the museums and the theaters of New York City. These trips meant the world to my children and therefore to me. But perhaps Mother's greatest gift to all her grandchildren occurred when she inculcated them with the desire to be involved and caring citizens by giving them a Christmas check for the charity of their choice. They returned her love by working for causes she held dear in the environment, education, health care, social justice, and with regular loving calls and visits. And I'm so very proud of each and every one of you. Mother, for widening our world through travel, for teaching us life's greatest joy is found in giving. Our family is forever grateful. The grandchildren say those who describe their grandmother in only gracious terms obviously never played cards with her. Nene, for your merry and mischievous spirit, we are forever grateful. Until the day Mama went to heaven, her passion was the Wildflower Center. She loved the natural world, feeling a keen responsibility to nurture it as it had nurtured her. Family always said if you want Nene to carry your picture in her wallet, make sure you get it taken in the wildflowers. Mother, for your commitment to what you believed in, our world is more beautiful, and we're all forever grateful. Mother maintained a close relationship with her employees. James Davis worked for her nearly 50 years, and Mama said, when James Davis goes, I'll go. Staff was family for Mama, and she was family for them. My parents had no former staff, just former paid staff. Every foreign trip and Christmas, Mother gave her Secret Service a party. She respected them professionally and cared about them personally. For nearly half a century, they were with her, and they still stand steadfast by her side. Would Mother's staff and Secret Service, past and present, stand so I can thank them publicly as Mother always did. For your lessons in loyalty, Mother, we're all forever grateful. The last years of Mama's life, Linda called daily, traveling halfway across the country monthly for long and loving visits. She was Mama's firstborn, her kindred spirit, her link to the Washington world that Mother loved. They just don't make more devoted daughters than Linda. For being there for Mother and for me, Linda, I'm forever grateful. Tragically, strokes stilled Mama's eloquent voice. Failing sight kept this most literate of women from reading, and atrial fibrillation sapped her boundless energy. But we were fortunate to have the most able and faithful doctors, nurses, and caregivers to help ease these traumas. Would you all please stand so we can thank you from the bottom of our hearts?